Hello, Naturals! I'm Gabby Wallace, your American English fluency coach from GoNaturalEnglish.com, here to help you break through to fluency. Have you ever felt stuck in your English learning? Like you don't know how to reach fluency, to speak like a native, to feel strong in your English skills? Well, I can understand that because I've felt that way learning other languages. And what I realized is that there are myths or big lies that many of us accept because maybe you heard them from your friend or your teacher or somewhere, but these things are holding you back from achieving your fluency dreams. They are not true. And so in this video, right here, right now, together, we are going to bust 7 of the biggest language learning myths, specifically for English learning. And in this video, I'm going to recommend a great way for you to practice your English one-on-one online in live time. Yes, live online tutoring with LiveXP, the sponsor of this video. So stick around because I will show you what the site looks like and how you can get a very special offer, only 99 cents for your first 30-minute trial lesson. And if you sign up for their tutoring using my promo code, then you can get 30% off. So to get the 99 cent special, make sure to use my link. I'll show you more about the platform in just a minute, but let's jump into the 7 myths. Number 1, the size of your vocabulary equals your level of fluency. This one might ruffle some feathers. Ruffle feathers means to upset some people. But size doesn't matter as much as you think it might. Now, I'm talking about vocabulary here. What I mean is that many English learners ask me to learn more difficult vocabulary, more advanced vocabulary, longer words. But these words are not necessarily going to help you speak fluently. What you need to be learning is high frequency vocabulary, like the words that we use in everyday conversations. So if you have 1,000 vocabulary words, that's enough to participate in most everyday English conversation. If you need English for specific purposes, like you're a doctor or a medical translator, or maybe you're a pilot, well, yes, then I understand you need more vocabulary, but that is specific to you and your goals. For most people, you don't need a huge vocabulary to get your point across. And in fact, the most important thing to understand is that you can still have a conversation with a fairly small vocabulary and learn words as you go. So do not hesitate. Do not wait to start speaking English in real life with real native English speakers just because you don't think you have all of the vocabulary you might need. The most important thing is to be able to learn as you go, ask questions, describe words that you want to know, and people will help you along the way. Or if you realize that you need to know a word that you don't know, you can look it up as you go. So the important thing is to take action and learn as you go. And speaking of taking action, I have a suggestion for you. Number 1, join the complete Go Natural English course, including recorded video lessons, a private podcast, a forum, and support only for course members. And the perfect companion to that, or whether you're taking my complete English course or not, the perfect companion is to take live online tutoring English lessons with LiveXP. Let me show you inside their website. I don't know if you've seen it before, so I want you to see how it works. So let's take a look at how to sign up for live private tutoring with LiveXP. Show you really quickly this LiveXP website that I found out about. You can practice English and over 30 other languages all for one low, affordable price. So if you're like me and you love learning languages, maybe you want to practice your Portuguese or your Finnish or a little French, it's up to you. So if you want to learn a new language, English or another one, this is an amazing site to know about. They have over 2,000 tutors. In fact, over 1,500 English tutors. So if you want a live lesson, if you want to ask questions, get feedback, corrections, improve your fluency, then this is the place to do it. And you can get a 30-minute trial for just 99 cents. And remember, your subscription is 30% off when you use my promo code. So really check this site out. I think there's a lot of opportunities to practice English and, of course, other languages too. And remember, use the link in the description. I'll also add it into the comments where you can get a 99-cent 30-minute trial lesson. This is a great way to try out LiveXP without any commitment, without spending a lot of money. See if you like it, see if it's for you. And if you want to continue, then use my promo code, which I'll also put here in the description, in the comments, for 30% off when you sign up for LiveXP lessons. This is an amazing value and the best way to practice in live time. So let's get on to the next myth about English fluency. Fluency equals perfect grammar. Okay, so many English learners ask me, how can I make longer, more complicated sentences? And I would say to that, why do you want to make longer, more complicated sentences? Because if our goal is to communicate clearly, oftentimes long, complicated sentences do not achieve that goal. Fluency means you are communicating and expressing your ideas, your feelings. And when we make long, complicated sentences with the most advanced grammar possible, that actually doesn't help. Yes, it can make you sound smart. If you're writing an academic paper or giving an academic presentation, then sure, I could see why you might want to do this for, professional or academic reasons. However, perfect grammar does not equal fluency. Yes, we should strive to have correct grammar. However, don't let that stop you from speaking, because many people, native speakers, non-native speakers, it doesn't matter. Our grammar is not perfect when we speak. So writing is one thing, but speaking is another. So before you speak, don't wait until you have the perfect grammar structure thought out in your head, because you're going to miss the opportunity to join into a conversation that way. So think less, speak more. The next myth is that you have to sound like a native speaker in order to be fluent. So many students come to me to improve their pronunciation. And there's a balance here, because no, it's not necessary to be completely native sounding. However, you do want to be understood. So, for example, I interviewed some people recently, and I'm open to interviewing people from all around the world. One person had a strong accent, but I could understand him clearly. He made his experience, his expertise known, and I felt good about hiring him. Another person had a very strong accent, so strong that I could not understand several sentences that he was trying to say. So that is not good. So we definitely need to have your pronunciation at a point where other people can clearly understand you. However, do you need to sound exactly like a native speaker? No, sound like yourself, because having an accent isn't a deficiency. It's actually a sign that you know more. You know another language. You have more life experience. So wear that accent like a badge of honor. And oftentimes it's a conversation talking point. People will ask you, where are you from? What other languages do you speak? So don't be ashamed or shy about people hearing your accent. Many people find it very interesting and even attractive. Watching movies, Netflix, TV shows in English is not going to make you fluent. So the myth is that you can just watch these programs and then you'll be fluent. You can learn to understand English through movies, through TV shows, etc., Netflix can definitely improve your listening comprehension, but listening is just one of 4 core skills in English. We have listening, reading, writing, speaking. So if you can understand, if you can have great listening comprehension, that's great. It's not a problem to watch programs in English. It's definitely helpful, but it is passive learning. And we have to understand that there's passive skills like listening and reading where you are consuming English. And then there are active skills, writing and speaking, where you are producing the language. So it is not enough to focus on passive learning. We also have to push ourselves to do what's often more difficult, actually producing the language. So that's why it's so important to practice your English. Maybe practicing with friends, practicing with apps. There's a million ways to practice these days, but the important thing is that you focus on all 4 skills. That is how to truly become fluent. Next, there's a myth that you have to study English for like 30 years to become fluent. This is not only impractical, but it's not true. It's not about the time or the duration or length of your study. It's actually about the intensity and your focus. Have you ever thought about when you go to work? Let's say you work 9 to 5, the same number of hours every day, but some days you are so much more productive than others. What makes those days more productive? What makes you actually do more work? You're probably focused. Maybe you had a good working environment. Maybe you slept well the night before. Maybe you had your favorite beverage. I like to drink coffee. That always helps me and makes me feel nice when I study. But think about what is it that helps you to stay focused and productive when you study. And when you apply those things, you will advance in English much faster than simply thinking about, I'm just going to put the time in, because it's not just about the time. Someone who's unfocused, passively learning, might take 10 hours to learn the same thing that you could learn in 1 hour when you're focused and learning actively and really putting your 110% into learning. So it's a great way to learn faster when you're thinking about active, productive learning. If you have questions about this, let me know in the comments because it's a really important concept. Next, kind of related to time, there's a lot of people who think that it's too late to become fluent. You know, maybe you're not in college anymore. You're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. I mean, I have helped people well into their 70s and 80s to become fluent in English. And I will tell you one thing, it's not your age that matters. It's your interest, your engagement, your passion, your motivation, your inspiration for learning. If you know why you want to learn, you will figure out how to do it. What I see as more of a problem is at any age, if you don't know why you want to learn, if you're just doing it because, you know, somebody said you should, that's not as motivating. You have to know why you want to learn. And the thing about learning as an adult is it's just different than learning as a child or a teenager or even at 20 years old. I mean, once you're into your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, if you're 100, the idea is you know a lot about the world. You have life experience. You know your first language very well, hopefully. And you can apply what you know already to learning English. So that can be helpful because at first when you're learning, it can be very helpful to apply the context that you know about the world to learning new vocabulary or concepts in a new language. So it's just a little bit different, but it's never too late. So don't give up. Finally, a huge myth is that you have to live in an English-speaking country in order to become fluent in English. So while this can be helpful to be immersed in an English-speaking environment, I mean, if you can come to work or travel in an English-speaking country, like I live in the United States, it can be helpful. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's not necessary. You don't need to live in an English-speaking country to become fluent. And in fact, there are many, many people who come to English-speaking countries and then just hang out with other people from their country because it's familiar and comfortable, but you end up speaking your native language and you're not really learning English as quickly. So it's not about living in an English-speaking country. It's actually about how you spend your time, the environment that you create for yourself. Because even in the United States, you can create an entirely non-English speaking community. I recently went to Miami, Florida, which is clearly in the United States, but many people joke that it is not the United States because everyone, let's say 90% of people there speak Spanish. Now, that's just a rough estimate, but I will tell you that every single day and in most interactions, whether I was going to get a coffee, taking an Uber, going out, going to the grocery store, everyday activities, I was doing them all in Spanish every day. So for me, as a Spanish learner, I loved it because I was creating my own immersion experience without leaving my home country. So if you can't go to a place where they speak English, you have to create your own immersion experience at home. What does that look like? It could be listening to music, radio, news, TV programs, Netflix, movies in English for your passive learning, for your listening comprehension. It could also be podcasts, YouTube. We have so much access to media these days for that listening comprehension or for reading comprehension. For practicing speaking and writing, of course, there are so many options online. Practicing your speaking and your writing with a tutor online, practicing your speaking and your writing even by yourself. It's fascinating. When you record yourself speaking, you often realize the mistakes that you make and where you can improve when you listen to yourself afterwards. It's actually a great tool. Even if it feels a little bit funny or embarrassing, I highly recommend that you do this. So that is helpful. Joining a course like my complete English course, Fluent Communication, can also help you to create that immersive environment from home. So these are some of the myths that hold us back because we think, oh, I don't live in an English-speaking country. Oh, I'm too old. Oh, I can't speak English because my grammar is not perfect. And oh, I don't have that much time, or I haven't been learning English that much time, or I don't have time to start learning English, or like my vocabulary is really small, so I don't know if I can actually have a conversation, or my grammar is not perfect. I can't speak fast enough. I have to plan out these elaborate sentences in my mind. These are all excuses. Everything I just said there is very normal and common among English learners. I've heard these things over and over. I have thought these thoughts for myself learning Spanish. I'm a native English speaker, so I wouldn't think them about English, but these are so common. The powerful thing that we can do is to stop these thoughts when we have them and replace them with the solutions that I just gave you. Remember, it's never too late to learn. It's not really about how much time you have. It's about your focus. It's not about living or traveling to an English-speaking country. It's about providing yourself those resources, materials, and the environment that make it conducive to learn English. It's about having enough vocabulary to start, even if it's just to say, hello, how are you? That means you can start right now. You can start having a conversation right now, even from the first day one learning English. You can start having conversations as long as you just, throw yourself into them and learn as you go. And grammar is important, but it's not everything. So again, learn as you go. You can always improve your grammar and learn more advanced ways to communicate, but that comes from all of these other things. Living English, making it part of your lifestyle, noticing where you can improve as you go. So at the end of the day, the most important thing is to take action and don't let these myths or these excuses be a barrier to your taking action. So if you're ready to take action with your English learning, my 2 suggestions for you are the Go Natural English Complete Course and LiveXP, which I showed you. Let me know if you have any questions about either, and I'll be watching for you in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.